Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. I have a large family, 9 children and 1 on the way, and I like to shop once a month. Not because I love to shop and plan as much as I love to stay out of the stores. It saves me a lot of money not to go back to the store often, and it is super easy and convenient to have all my meals for the month planned out, stored in my house, so I can just take what I need that day, cook it, and be done with the food part. I started shopping like this when I was first married, and there were just 2 of us, just 2 adults, no children in the house, because I realized I did not like going to the store very often, and we were on a very tight budget, so I wasn't wanting to be tempted by the store very often. It's really easy to put extra things in your cart. The more you go into the store, a lot of statistics will tell you that and everything. So I started it then. I haven't always done once a month. Sometimes I do. There have been lots of seasons in my life actually that I've done plan for 2 weeks at a time. But I've used the same exact concept, which I'm gonna share with you today, that's really simple and easy. In fact, this month I did it just really, really simple. And I was kind of starting from scratch since we had been out of the country for 4 to 5 weeks. This is a good month to show you, so if you are wanting to start something like this, you can see how I did it even when I was kind of starting over. It felt like that anyway, this month. What has determined for me whether I do 2 weeks at a time or 1 month at a time has mostly been about whether I have the money to buy the 1 month of groceries at the beginning of the month or at the middle of the month whenever I'm starting, and also if I have the storage space to store everything. So when I first started, I didn't have the money for the whole month at a time, and so I would do every 2 weeks. Later on, I was able to do every month, and then we ran out of storage space as we had more and more kids to do every month. So then when we moved into this house and had a couple refrigerators and more cupboard space, we were able to go back to once a month again. So it's been off and on like that for me, mostly based on those 2 factors. But that doesn't really matter much. Let me show you how I planned it out. I use this very simple wall calendar that hangs on my wall, and I mostly use it just for showing what appointments we have. Look, I spilled something on it. Anyway, I also use it for meals a lot of times. So at the bottom here, I wrote what we have, the kids have for breakfast and snack every day and lunch. And that is every Friday, they have the exact same thing for breakfast, lunch, and snack. Saturday, breakfast, lunch, and snack. Thursday, breakfast, lunch, and snack, as you can see. So first of all, I go through on my grocery list. I like to use the WUNDERLIST app on my phone. This is not sponsored by WUNDERLIST. It should be. And this is what it looks like inside. And I just go into Sam's Club and I write down everything I need from Sam's Club for that breakfast, lunch, and snack. Everything I need at Aldi, if I'm getting it at Walmart. Most of the places I get what I get is mostly for price. So that's how I determine it. Over time, you just kind of know your prices of what stores. And that's why I go to those 3 stores mainly, Sam's Club, Aldi, and Walmart. I do a few things at Trader Joe's usually. And if I can get some things on Amazon, I will get them there. So I write down those things first. And then normally I'm keeping a list going on my WUNDERLIST app throughout the month. When I'm running out of things in my cupboard that I buy bulk of or I stock up on, I will just write it down on my phone really quick. That also translates to my computer. It translates to my husband's phone if he's doing the shopping for me. And we have a kid phone, a home phone that the kids all share. It even goes to there. So we can even take that phone when we're grocery shopping. And if we have a couple phones between us, we can all have a list with us. So that helps with that being more convenient. Usually I'm up to date on that list. This time, because I've been out of the country, we had people staying at our house while we were gone. And so I wasn't quite sure what had been eaten of what we normally have, and even more so what they had added to what we have. And so I really had to go through my pantry, search it well, and my fridge and my freezers outside, and really try to remember what we normally keep. I know a lot of people keep a running list in their pantry of what they should have normally, and that would be smart. I don't do that. But I was able to remember almost everything. I think I forgot one thing that I'll apply to the middle of the month when I pick up my fruits and vegetables, and it was just olive oil, so that's not a big deal. So when I start and sit down to make my list, I usually have those things already on my phone of the regular pantry stuff that we keep in stock. And then I go through like this and do all the breakfast and lunch. And then I think about what my husband and I eat for breakfast, lunch, and snack, which is different than the kids. We try to eat a diet of Trim Healthy Mama, which is either low carb or low fat, and mostly we do the low carb side. So we have certain things that we really like, that we like to eat, and I just make sure we have those things. We don't eat a different breakfast and lunch every day like the kids do. We tend to eat the same thing over and over, and we do eat leftovers too, so that makes it a little simpler to plan. So I just pick a couple. Solo has 1 or 2 favorite breakfasts. I have 1 or 2 favorite breakfasts. Make sure those items are on the list. And before, I have kept like a running list of what our favorite breakfasts, what our favorite lunches, what our favorite snacks or desserts are to have around, and that does help me too. So I could look at that and pick out, okay, do I have everything for this, everything for that? Okay, so now I've planned the kids and my breakfasts and lunches for the whole month. As I'm going through, I also keep on that WUNDERLIST, you can write down different stores. I also keep like a Sam's Club second half of the month, or an Aldi second half of the month, a Walmart second half of the month, and I try to get most of my second half of the month stuff at the same place. While I'm going through and making my lists, if there's some things I need to get halfway through the month because they would go bad if I bought it all at the beginning, which is mostly my fresh fruits and vegetables and milk, then I go ahead and write that down right away too. So I'm not planning again halfway through the month. By the way, I usually throw in some kind of ice cream or something just to have around for dessert. We don't eat dessert every night, sort of a special treat. This night, July, one of our favorite things is just to go through like a nearby fast food restaurant. We have a Runza here that does like $1 ice cream cones and go for a walk, or we go for a walk at a park and then go get the $1 ice cream. So I actually didn't pick up ice cream this time just because it's a really fun thing that we do in the summer and that doesn't happen all year long. So can't beat $1 ice creams. I think even McDonald's has them. So that's what the kids are kind of doing this month. We haven't done it yet, but we'll get to it. We always get to it. We do keep a couple things like dark chocolate and some easy things we can whip up, and the kids also, I always keep baked goods around for them. So I always check and make sure I have plenty of that because they love to bake. They love to bake their own desserts, and so we let them do that often too. And now the last thing. Are we already at the last thing? Yes, we're already at the last thing. So I showed you June because I had written down all our breakfast, lunches, and snacks in June, and I hadn't done it yet in July. And actually, because I like to put my grocery haul up early, right at the beginning of the month, and because we had just gotten back into the country, I actually shopped and planned for 1 month of June and 3 months, or 1 week of June and 3 weeks of July. And so that is why it doesn't look like the full month of July is planned out. But every day I write down what our dinners are gonna be, and let me show you how I pick those easily. On Sundays we like to do, it says crock, we like to do a crock pot meal a lot of times. Not doing that this month. Crock pot would normally be because we're pastors of a church, we're always gone all morning, and we like to eat our big meal at lunch just on Sundays. So it's nice to have it already cooked and ready for you when you get home. On Mondays, we do Kenyan food because my husband's day off is Monday, and so he likes to cook, and so we save that for the day he is off and around to do that kind of thing. Tuesdays in the summer, we like to have a salad. So like one big salad that I make, and I use a lot of the Trim Healthy Mama salads. I like them a lot. There's a broccoli salad, we eat that for a meal. A Chinese chicken salad that's really good. And see, when I write down what we're having, I just write the page number from the cookbook. I actually have 2 Trim Healthy Mama cookbooks, and they're almost always out of one of those. And so sometimes I have to guess which cookbook. I should give myself a clue. And then we're trying the Zesty Southwest Chop salad or something like that. That one's new for us. But so I go down, it helps me to plan when I kind of know, okay, Monday we'll have Kenyan food, Tuesday we'll have salads, Wednesday we'll have a chicken dish. And so this time I was wanting to try some new recipes, so I went through and looked for chicken dishes that looked good. We're doing a couple that we already know and a couple that are new for us. As I'm writing all of these down, I look at the ingredients and I make sure we have plenty. A lot of times I double recipes, so I make sure I have plenty for the double recipe, that kind of thing. Thursdays we're doing vegetarian every Thursday, so just meatless. And then Friday we're doing fish. Sometimes we'll do seafood like shrimp. Sometimes it'll be tuna or tilapia. So that helps me just kind of figure out what, and see, you'll see we haven't gotten to July 5th, but I've already crossed out shrimp tacos because I felt like it. So just because I have it all written down and planned, that means I have all the food, but that does not mean that we stick to that food for that day. So I'd say about half of the time I pick something else than what's written down, but at least I know that I have all of that stuff, and that is the best part. Saturdays, we are doing beef, like ground beef something or other. And I'm actually, this month, I told you I'm not doing Sundays quite the same because I'm just doing leftovers on Sundays. I really want a day off from cooking, besides my husband's day of cooking. I want 2 days off from cooking, guys. And so I'm doing, instead of doubling a recipe, usually the double Trim Healthy Mama recipes are huge. And it's, 1 recipe is not enough for us, 2 is too much. And so I figured 3 would be 2 perfect meals for us. So each of those I did times 3, so I'll triple those, and then we'll have leftovers on Sunday. So simple, right? That is really all there is to it. So when I go to make a meal that day, I try to think about it the day before. That really helps because you got to get meat out to thaw and stuff like that, or at least the morning. And like I said, I switch things around sometimes. Eli, you're in winter pajamas. It's July 1st. I switch things around sometimes, and at least I have all that food there. It makes it so much easier. Dinner time becomes just part of my routine, and it's not something I have to put a lot of thought into, even when I'm making brand new meals. I am posting some of these meals that I'm making on Instagram. Our Instagram is Our Tribe of Many. If you want to see some of these meals, I haven't hit all of them, but I'm trying to hit some of them and put them up there and save them to my Instagram stories. They're not just in my regular feed. And then in August, for those of you that are not on Instagram, I'm hoping to film a series of what we have for dinner every night, just because I did that in the winter and our summer meals are quite different. So I want to show you that for those of you that are interested and need some dinner inspiration. I love that food does not take up a huge portion of my life. I also love that it helps me kind of keep in my budget. When I'm looking at the whole scheme of things, I can see, hey, I'm spending too much money on this or that. I need to rein it back, and then just staying out of the stores really helps my budget too. It is some work at the beginning of the month. Normally it just takes me like maybe an hour, hour and a half to plan out everything and write my grocery list. A lot of times we'll use the same menu almost that I used the month before. But this time it took me about 2 hours, mostly because I had been out of the country and because I wasn't sure what was in there, and we were trying out new meals that I wasn't really familiar with what the ingredients were, and I had to really look everything up. So that's why it took me a little longer this time, but otherwise it takes a very small part of my life, considering that I have all the food for the month ready to go in my house. I'm feeding a lot of people, and yes, they like to eat. They like to eat every few hours. So it really helps to have it all planned out and ready to go. If I was doing 2 weeks, I would do the same concept, only just not do it for 4 weeks. And then sometimes people ask me, don't your kids get bored of their breakfast, lunch, dinners, snacks being the same all the time? Well, dinners, we do a different dinner almost every night for a month. So I don't think that is excessive. Well, except for the leftover night. And then the stews, my husband makes different every time. So we really have almost a month worth of food. Sometimes people repeat the same dinners every week, just do the same 7 over and over and over, and that's fine too if that's what you like. So you really can tailor it to what your family thinks. But this month I changed one of our lunches. They were quesadillas on Friday, and I made it walking salad just because I noticed they haven't been eating the quesadillas as much. So we do switch up from month to month. I'll switch up what's not working with breakfast or lunch or even snack. In the winter, we have different snacks than we do in the summer. Some of them, like we'll have hot chocolate instead of popsicles or something like that. And then I always buy tons of fruit. Tons of fruit. As much fruit as I can get. And we always eat it all. So that's how I do it. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I will talk to you later. Bye.